10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is AJ Diaz, your celebrity host, hunk of the year, runner-up actually, and I'm sitting on the same bench as these two studs. They said, grab some bench, and I said, okay. And welcome to episode 41. Without further delay, except for a little bit more of your brain on
God. Yes, this is episode 41, part 5 of our relationships series, and we are talking about friendships. We talk a little bit about the dynamic between us as friends, and also some key things about friendships in general and why they are important to us and why they should be important to you too. So listen up, enjoy the episode. Don't forget to follow on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, and Instagram. AJ is back on the podcast.
Yeah.
Whoa, that means that we started the podcast, I think, because they introduced me. And here I am. It's been a hot minute. What's happened in the in-between? Who knows? I don't know. We all got older.
AJ, what's been going on?
His birthday was yesterday.
Yeah.
Aaron's getting some gray hair. So, he's 28 now. Daryl, he's 30. So.
Oh my gosh, 28, 29, 30.
Yeah.
Wow. And we're sitting in that order.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're like the T-Mobile bars /Sprint /Verizon
/AT&T.
/AT&T. What's been going on? I've been eating more noodles these days. Trying to get into noodles.
All right.
Eating wise.
What kind of noodles?
Just kind of any kind. I don't know.
All right.
He's trying to find a Korean wife.
Yeah, they eat noodles. So,
So he's just eating more noodles.
I'm just going to
Hoping
the
that
places where they go.
Him eating noodles is going to do it.
Which are
quite
the noodle
attractive.
places? Yeah.
Oh, man.
I was in a coffee shop the other day full of nothing but Koreans. I didn't tell you guys this.
No.
Yeah, I just mobbed over to Irvine because it's right by the office we have up there.
And there's a lot of Koreans.
And I had time to kill, so I just went over and I was the only white guy, and it was cool. I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He went to an all-Korean church.
Went to all Korean church as well, so I'm making moves.
You're getting yourself plugged into the
Korean community. Yep, definitely.
That's awesome.
Definitely.
Learning Korean.
Yep.
Spending time getting Korean Jesus.
Korean Jesus. Korean Jesus is just as powerful, if not more. No, the sermon was good. I didn't learn any Korean nor make any friends, which is what we're talking about today. But I did get inspired by the sermon. Can't go into it right now. It has nothing to do with friendship.
Yeah. Yeah, we're in
right.
episode 5 of our relationship series. I think this might be our longest series that we've done. We've done 4 episodes. No, we've done 5 episodes on fear, I think.
We did 5 on fear.
And we're on our 5th episode of relationships. We're talking about friendship. So we thought might as well get the boys together for a little talk on friendship.
Friendly talk.
The only thing is AJ will be replying strictly in Korean.
Yep. Otherwise, there's no way I could learn unless I throw myself into the fire.
Yeah, he's practicing his Korean.
So you might not know what he's saying, but
AJ, can you introduce yourself? To us in Korean?
Yep. Oh wait, no, I don't think I learned that. I skipped all
you don't know how to say my name is
Dang.
AJ?
No, I don't.
What?
Yeah,
That's like
always
one of
the
the
videos
first
that
things
tell
you
you
learn.
that all the introductory stuff. I skipped that stuff. I never learned to crawl as a baby. I just started walking. I just jumped into do you want to be my girlfriend? I know how to say that.
how do you say that?
Yeah. So I'd say 저는. See, that's the formal. Otherwise, I say 나는. It's 저는 한국 여자 친구들 원해요.
Ooh, that actually sounds good.
Yeah,
That means-
not too bad. Huh?
Do you want to be my girlfriend?
That's basically I want a girlfriend. No, I want a Korean girlfriend. Okay. I feel like I could just change the intonation on it and then turn it into a question.
Oh,
okay.
man.
Yeah.
Man, well, yep. This is why we got AJ on the podcast.
AJ is here.
Always bringing the laughs. Always bringing the content.
The content.
He's
a content
always out
creator.
here. Yeah, but we wanted to talk about friendship because why did we want to talk about friendship?
Because it's part of relationships.
It's a huge part of relationships.
Well, from what I gathered, you guys are in a long relationship series. Season 1 of your relationship series.
Season 1 of relationships.
10 more episodes of season 1.
Yeah. Friendships are, they're like an essential part of life. It's like we do life and we're around people all the time. And we interact with people. We build relationships. We build friendships. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, positive, negative experiences. And I don't know if we've talked about this study before on the podcast. I imagine we would have, but there's a study that was on what makes the happy life. They studied people for 70 plus years.
Yeah.
I think it's still
I
going.
think we talked about it a little
and now
bit.
they're studying like their kids. But the one factor that determined someone's happiness and level of like, enjoyment of life was their relationships, like their
Right.
close relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And friendships, I think, are a dynamic of relationship that it's not often reflected on, I don't think. I mean, at least I don't hear much talk about it. We don't usually talk about it, but it's something that everybody has some level of friendship with people, you know, with certain people. And I think it's something worth reflecting on and having a conversation about.
Yeah, they don't teach it in school. That's what we were saying.
Right. You don't learn about
Unless
it
you
in
took
school,
a friendship class in school.
which that would be really cool.
That would be dope,
Yeah.
actually.
I was gonna say the classic thing: show me your friends, show me your future. And then I was thinking about you guys, and I was thinking about this last night, and I was like, okay, so I meet Daryl, right? And then next thing I know, I'm like at the dance studio because he's a professional dancer. I don't know if you guys know this about him. Okay, so you start
Not
hanging
a
out.
professional, but
Not my dance
He's,
days.
Sorry,
are
girl, I just demeaned you.
pretty
You
good.
are.
He's pretty good. So anyway,
dance days are in my past.
so because I meet him, hanging out with him, whatever, I end up over there, right?
Yeah.
Also, I ended up listening to the Bible Project. And then Aaron, we come to Aaron. The other day, which I define as a few weeks ago, I'm sitting next to a girl on the couch, and I'm trying to like hit on her a little bit. And I burp in her face. And I think, wow, I guess it's because I hang out with Aaron. I've never done that before. Doing new things at 28 years old. I was 28 at the time.
Wow.
That's how you get them, man.
Oh my
And
god.
That is
that's-
how you get 'em.
That's friendship right there.
That
You just
did
become
impact
you
your
become
future.
who you are around.
That did impact your future.
I
did it
literally
not?
thought you were gonna say I started serving at youth because Aaron's a youth pastor. I started giving my time to youth. He said, "Nope, I burped in a
burped
girl's
in
face."
a girl's face when I liked her, and now she's gone.
Yeah, I still.
Actually, I don't know
I
where
think
she
I
is.
still
Maybe she's
operate.
listening.
I think I still operate from you know how you relate to girls when you're in elementary school.
Yeah.
And you kind of like fart around them and burp and push them and stuff
Yeah.
like that. That's kind of how I still relate with Abby. So
It works for him.
And it works.
It did not work for me. Maybe it's just not natural enough. No, but then I was thinking on a serious note. Yeah, serving in youth, doing youth stuff, all kinds of stuff. You know, we can't go into all that.
That's funny. You know what that reminded me of? I mean, kind of what Aaron just said.
Preaching.
How Aaron behaving a certain way, and maybe that doesn't work for other girls, but it actually worked for the girl he's with, and they're like
Yeah.
great for each other.
we're great.
And it's like in relationships, in friendships too. This applies to friendships as well. But
She
like,
thinks my
things
farts are
like-
cute. She does. She tells me.
And now the world knows.
Yep. The whole world.
The whole
the whole world
entire
listening
world.
to this.
And all the other worlds out there.
Yeah.
But it's like water levels itself out. You know, it's like our relationships eventually level themselves out with people that are similar to us. And like if we behave a certain way, we end up being around people who are okay with us behaving that way or also
Right.
behave that way.
Yeah.
You know, and so like that, and it even goes back to what you said, AJ. Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. The people that we spend time with impact our life experience.
Right.
Because we start doing different things, behaving different ways, talking different ways, and it ultimately impacts the types of decisions that are in front of us because we are in different places. And so being intentional and being aware of the people that we're in relationships with and what types of friendships we have is huge. I think it's really important.
It's probably the thing that influences a kid most next to his family.
Yeah.
You know, a good family life is really important, but who your kid is hanging around is like, I would say secondarily important, you know, because you could have a great household and then go to school and then you got a bunch of knucklehead friends or whatever. And then you end up getting yourself into trouble.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember, you know, I was a good kid growing up. I grew up in a good Christian family. I mean, we had some problems for sure, but you know, was a sweet kid until I started hanging out with this kid named John. I ain't going to say his last name.
John.
Oh, John. Right. But he was a kid that got me like on the edge, you know, where I was like starting to make bad decisions. Him and another kid, Matt, and like would go over to their house, and their parenting style was just way different with them, you know. So like they could watch movies that I was not allowed to watch, you know what I mean? And they could say things, and they would just get me into trouble, you know what I mean? It was I was just going along by association, you know. And so I think we learned that early on as kids. I mean, and that's a lot of what even I teach to youth students, you know, is that very thing. It's like, it's important who you hang around, right?
Yeah.
And I think as we get older, we kind of maybe lose that sentiment. I feel like it happens because in high school, you're kind of like set in a group and you kind of got to find friends, you know?
Yeah.
Like you're in a social setting where it's kind of like find friends or like just, I guess, be alone.
Perish.
Yeah.
Perish.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Die socially or something like that, you know? And then you get out of high school and I feel like there's not as much of a emphasis on solid friendships. At least that's what I've experienced, you know what I mean? Because you're not going to the same place every single day,
Right.
you know, like, and so your friendships and then kind of the goal, it seems to shift. Like we talked about friendships, you don't really learn a lot about good friendships. It's more once you get out of high school, it's like go on to romantic relationships, find a wife, find a husband, have a kid, you know what I mean? Like move on. And I think we lose some of that good hearty relationships and friendships in our lives that can continue to shape our future, you know? And I don't know why that is, but
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, it's like you're saying, it seems more like crucial in some kind of sense when you're younger, but then as you get older, for some reason you lose like that feeling of how crucial it is in a sense or something like that.
Like there's not as much
Yeah.
social pressure to fit into a group kind of a thing or to belong somewhere.
you can kind of hide a little bit easier too, or kind of like find your own thing. And I don't know, maybe that's it. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah. Part of it, what I thought it was the ease, you know, of just being like what you mentioned, being surrounded by the same people.
Yeah.
Every day, having the same classes, being in the same environment.
Right.
We don't learn practices that actually help build relationships, you know, and that help build connection and community and friendships. It just is there for us. And then once that kind of like the bumpers, you know, for relationships is taken off, we're just rolling gutter balls all day.
Wow. Good analogy, Daryl.
It's
What sport is that? What?
I'm just kidding.
Oh, I was like, is that real? Or?
No.
It's bowling, if anybody's wondering.
Yeah, I just was thinking of them, you know. Someone might have not known.
And it's like we go and we're in this place where relationships are kind of naturally curated for us, and we don't learn how to curate them ourselves. And so once we're out of that environment, now we don't know how to develop relationships or invest relationships or keep relationships growing.
For sure.
Yeah,
That becomes a problem. Not for me, though. Wait, should we just say how we all became friends?
Yeah. Wait, so
How did you two become friends?
Dude, I don't know, man.
I don't know how I ended up with this guy in my life so
Aaron
much.
doesn't know how he ended up with
I don't
any
want to talk
friends.
about that with any friends.
Me and Aaron met when I came back from college
Yeah.
through mutual friends. But I think when we really started hanging out it was on accident. Like we would go to the same coffee shops. Like we would end up being at the same coffee shop and we would sit next to each other and then we'd just have conversation.
That was by accident? I thought
it started off by accident.
Oh.
It started off like we would go like with some friends maybe, or I would go. It's like we were all going to Intaza back in the day. Like a bunch of people from church would go there often. And then I would go there and you'd be there. I'd be there and you'd come. And then we end up sitting next to each other. And then we decided to do it on purpose. Like we should plan to do this more often. And so we did. And then we've been getting coffee once a week for like 4 years.
Yeah, that's crazy. But you connected on like in common interests, common topics.
Yeah, conversation. It's like the common interests and things that we can talk about, just connected over ideas, I guess. And like, yeah, we will have good conversation.
That's cool. Yeah, I know with Daryl I felt like was basically like hunting me down in a sense. I mean, I don't know if that's actually what you're doing, but you were just like calling me nonstop and inviting me places. And I was like, I'm busy. I was in a busy phase. And I just always wanted to like be working on whatever I was working on. But yeah, you called me so many times that eventually one time you called and I was like, man, I guess I better say yes at some point. and so basically that's how we became friends.
Really?
Yeah.
So
Daryl, did you know that?
No, I don't remember what
remember
happened.
that? Yeah, it was like
remember,
FaceTime specifically. You FaceTime all the time. You're like, play a board game, come to the pool, come to wherever.
Yeah, I first met AJ at church.
Yeah, I remember.
With your brother, and I actually couldn't tell you guys apart.
For sure.
At first, I got confused. I met both of you at the same time, and I didn't know who was who after that.
Right.
And then, I think we were just around church community.
Yeah.
Started hanging out a little bit with friend groups, and then I started inviting you to things, to game nights. We had game nights all the time.
Right.
Yeah, you invited me to a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's how that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That just.
So
And
you can
eventually
just
started hanging
go
out.
after people, apparently.
Yeah.
And then with Aaron, I don't know. It took a long time, actually.
Yeah, it took a long time. I think we knew about each other for a long time.
We were just in similar groups or whatever, friend groups. A lot of different friend groups back then. And then just like hung out and slowly, like very slowly.
Yeah, it just happened.
Yeah, it just
I
happened.
think a lot of my friendships just have happened organically, and I think that's like something that's been it's been beautiful. You have to be intentional in relationships, like obviously once you have them. But I think a little bit about what you said earlier, Daryl, is that you really you attract who you are, and that's always been kind of my mantra when it comes to relationships is if I'm just loving people, they're gonna love me too, I guess, hopefully. Hopefully, what I mean, or the ones that enjoy me will, and I think in there's lots of battles it's not just in school, right? Growing up, I think there's lots of battles to be approved of by people, so you're trying to figure out your place, you're trying to like kind of get into certain friend groups, right? And then maybe that happens it manifests itself differently, like different work environments or different groups in the business world, or you're trying to get into a certain position or whatever. But we learn about relationships a lot. Like I got to try and force that, and that's how I lived a lot of my relationships when I was younger. And then I met Jesus and really stopped caring about that and just wanted to love on Jesus and then love on people. And then friendships seemed to the right friendships seemed to kind of gather around me,
Right,
where it was like I was already being intentional with people to love them and share Jesus and to share my heart. And then because of that, people would start opening up to me, and then it was like, oh, I really like this person. Let's hang out more, and it happened in this organic way, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, it's like you're saying that you were forcing it more inauthentically.
Yeah.
Which we all kind of do, especially in the youth. You're forcing it authentically for whatever reason, clout, social climbing, whatever. Same, in business, whatever. But then once you start just being more of yourself, so it comes down to the ability to express yourself. It seems like a little bit, because if you can't express yourself at all, then how can people even know who you are and then connect with you?
Or if you don't know who you are.
Yeah, or if you don't know.
Yeah.
Right. Aaron, you said something earlier that was good before we recorded.
What?
I thought was true. You said, what'd you say?
I did?
You said something. You said you can only go as far in friendships as you go into yourself. Yeah, you can only go as far in friendships as you go into yourself.
Right. Yeah, and so I feel like I was always seeking after the wrong friends because I was looking for identity in people. Right. So I was trying to find myself in a group rather than finding myself and then allowing the group to come, which is something that we don't. Sometimes some people just never even stop doing. They continue to pursue trying to fit into a certain group of people or whatever it is. And then they end up losing a lot of friends because it's just not who they are, And
Right.
I think as soon as I stopped really even, it's not that I stopped pursuing friendship, but I just started being myself. I let go of people's perceptions of me. Then people started to like me, and then it was like, oh, all these people are around me. This is awesome. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I was just doing my own thing. I think this is something I actually share a little bit with my youth students is this exact concept. And I don't say this to them, but neediness for friends will push away friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've counseled students that and this is a big thing in kids is their main desire is to have friendships. This is what it's about. Especially the girls, that's what they want to talk about. They have problems with friendships. They want to have friendships.
All
they feel lonely. Yeah. All their testimonies with Jesus, or even at camp, they're like, God is putting amazing girls in my life. You know what I mean? That's the testimony. People that love me. It's this is awesome, right? They want relationships, but sometimes people get so needy for relationships and for friendships, and they're driving after that. They end up pushing people away because they're trying to fit in with that group, right? When it's hey, just be who you are. Enjoy people, love on people. In fact, don't wait for somebody else to see you, recognize you, and be your friend. Go be a friend to somebody, right? And something that I heard from a guy who he's the husband of someone who works at our church. His name's Sonny. And he deals with kids, but he came and he preached to our middle school students, and he says the wisdom of the kingdom is if you want friends, be a friend.
Right. Yeah.
And so if you're looking for solid friends, start being a solid friend to people. right? And unfortunately, we try and look for just people to gather around to us and be accustomed to us, when really we have to be the good friends to actually draw those friends in.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. What is something that AJ, you asked earlier, but what are things that you guys do to connect with friends? Like ways that you actually build and foster friendship and connection with people in your life?
Oh, all kinds of stuff.
I can go.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
You go.
Yeah.
I feel like there's not many things I do. Meaning, like, there's a few things that I really like are the things that I go to when I go like connect over things. Playing games is one. Like, I love like playing games and doing something
gamer.
fun. I'm a big board gamer. Love doing board games when I can, but not everybody likes board games. That's all right. Playing I don't know, playing games or some kind of sport type of thing is always fun. But then conversation is a big thing for me. Like being able to relate to somebody and talk about what feels like something that's meaningful, you know, and not just talk about surface level things and things that we can walk away from and be like, I don't feel like neither of us engaged in that conversation. You know, like I didn't feel like I saw who I was talking to, and I didn't feel seen in the conversation either. It's like we just kind of were saying words, you know, and it didn't really have an impact. Yeah. I love having like deep conversations. So like you mentioned, AJ, like the theological topics and being able to actually like hear somebody and see how they understand the world. And I love being able to have those kind of conversations where I feel like I'm actually, I have the privilege of seeing who you are, you know, and I feel like in those moments is when connection happens. And at the same time, whenever I feel like I have a space where I can communicate my thoughts and feel like this, like a chance to be seen as well.
Yeah.
And if both of those things aren't present, it doesn't really feel like, for me, like a friendship can really be there.
Yeah, Daryl makes you feel seen.
Yeah, he's good at that. You're really good at that, Daryl.
Yeah, conversations is one thing to connect for sure that all of us do. But for me, I could even make it more specific. I think that right off the bat, the reason I liked you guys, the more I talked, was that you guys actually challenged my conversations. And I would like sometimes get on like some kind of dominant warpath against people where like they never challenge me. They just accept everything I say. But that doesn't help me grow at all, you know? Yeah. So and sometimes I have very strong opinions on certain things. So I remember like, one of the first times I was talking to Daryl, he like started challenging some of the strong opinions I was saying. I was like, oh, frick.
That's why in my
Aaron
experience.
Too, he challenges me too. He challenges me on things I tell him I've done.
I'm all, no, you haven't. Prove it.
Haven't done that.
Pics or it didn't happen.
Are you sure you did that?
Wait,
no, not that. You just tell me like you shouldn't have done that.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Anyway, the point is that you feel more safe when you could run up against boundaries, especially if you're the kind of guy that likes to run up against boundaries. But also they have to be boundaries that are pretty far out, because I've had friends in the past that it was so small. They're like, AJ, be quiet. You know? Like I'm like a little bit loud in a restaurant. They're like, AJ, shh. I'm like, whoa. I don't know if I could be your friend. So
what do you mean about running into boundaries?
Like let's say being loud in a restaurant.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I sometimes can be pretty loud in a restaurant.
Right.
Yeah, we just had a guy at Raising Cane's literally come up to us and say, and he acted like nothing was wrong. It was weird. He was like, can you guys be quiet? It's because AJ, it wasn't even a yell. It was just a loud, like the loudest talking I've ever heard.
Yeah, pretty loud for a second. No, but I remember one time I was like, man, I like Aaron, because it was a long time ago. But we were at Los Gilbertos, and like I forget what I said, but I remember I made you laugh so much that you were like dying. And then I started reenacting a scene from Spider-Man 2. And I stood up and was reenacting it, and we were super loud in the restaurant. And then it was not even a restaurant, Los Gilbertos. But anyway, then like the cashier started clapping. And anyway, I had friends in the past that I would never be able to get to that level. I still do want to be corrected at some level. Right. But I needed to extend as far as like what I feel like is okay.
Right.
Or at least somewhat.
Well, you're in good company, bro, because I literally would make my friend Rob go to the bathroom because I would get so loud in restaurants. Like there's moments where I literally I would be laying on the floor in Denny's cracking up, like laughing. Like I remember in Marie Callender's, he literally left the table because I started laughing so hard. So you're in good company.
It sounds like being yourself, like feeling free to be yourself a bit, you know, like open up and kind of.
Yeah, free to be myself, but then feeling like maybe I'm at some equal level as well, where it's not someone that I'm talking down to that's never going to challenge any of my thoughts, right? Yeah. Because all my people before that were just people I was talking down to. They're like, yeah, great opinion.
Yes, thank you for listening to me.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing for me as well. Conversation is like, it's one of my like highest values in romantic relationships, and is specifically in friendships for sure. People that can actually go deep and actually are thinking about things and are in wonder about things. I think that's a big thing for me. I think I really see like a lot of things as like, this is awesome, or this is crazy, or this is wild. And I think when someone's like, oh, okay, like that's kind of a bummer, and I think I look for somebody, and it's not that you have to be like, I think Daryl and I have very different countenances, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like I think I'm more like, and Daryl's more calm and chill, even though you can get there for sure.
But I'm not the one to be like, oh yes, that is amazing.
Yeah, but it's not about even matching necessarily energy level for me. It's about like understanding the wonder and being like, yeah, that is, you know what I mean? That is awesome, and being able to be able to go there. I think I value a person that is growing. That's a big value for me is growth. And so someone who's moving somewhere and who's excited about growing and learning and adapting and all that stuff, I think those things are really important to me. As far as like things that we do together, I mean, besides those conversations, I love like silly sports, so playing pickleball with friends or playing cornhole with friends, like that stuff means a lot to me. Movies have always been like a crucial part of my life, so AJ and I connect through a lot through movies. Like for a while there, we had a stint where we were just doing like all of the trilogy movies, like we were watching all of the Spider-Mans or all the Star Wars, you know what I mean, the Star Trek. So we were just doing all the movies that have multiple ones, and we were doing it like Tuesday nights or whatever. So connecting in ways like that. I think friendship is cool because it is, I think C.S. Lewis talks about it, it is like two people connecting over something,
Right. Yeah.
And it's about, finding somebody that is doing something. And he actually says, don't go looking for friends, get good at something. And then
being around people,
and you'll end up being around people that are passionate around the same thing that you're passionate about, if you get good at something and actually go after the thing rather than trying to get friends. Right.
Yeah,
and I think that there is like a solid point about that. It's like actually do something, and then people will gather around you. And I guess that brings it back to the point of know who you are, but also know what you want to do, and start doing those things. And then, if your passion's soccer, you're going to be around people playing soccer, you know what I mean? And you can build healthy relationships that way, and then you can choose from that level if those people are, good for you, actually pour into you, actually help, help you and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah, it just happens naturally that way. You just do the things that you're interested in, like just watching boxing. You like boxing, and then you find your friends like boxing, and then now you're just watching boxing,
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day. I literally probably would never be interested in boxing if AJ wasn't so into. And AJ you have a gift, bro, of getting people passionate about the things that you're passionate about. Like even like the channels that he watches on YouTube, his brother, Michaela, Angel, they all start watching the channels that you are so influential in their lives. Like everything AJ's watching, they start watching. That's like funny, everything he's listening to, like K-pop, Blackpink. He's watching Blackpink documentaries. He starts liking, like really being attracted to Asian girls. Angel, now he's attracted to Angel. To Korean girls. Did I say angel girls?
Yeah, I think you did. You're about to. You stop yourself.
But he's like very influential. But I think that's the beautiful thing about it is he just knows even if they're weird interests, like freaking Jonas Brothers. Like I would never be interested in that, to be honest. But then like James gets interested in Jonas Brothers, and like I listen to Blackpink, and I'm like, this song's sick. But I love friendship in that way because you have such a way of influencing people, and AJ's like a star at it. So
thank you, man.
Anyway, keep going with what you were saying. I can't remember.
Yeah, but I think maybe that I love bringing people into the things that I love just because, like, if they enjoy it the same way. But also, I don't care if they don't enjoy it the same way because, like, if you don't enjoy something the same that I do, that's okay with me too, But if you do, then that's dope. Then that's an extra thing that we all enjoy, right?
Like a point of connection.
Yeah, so then it's just fun for everybody.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast, Dr. Huberman podcast. He's a professor at a university, and he studies like neurology. And he was talking about social bonds, and the way that people connect often is through what he called synchronization, or like somatic synchronization, like visceral body experiences, like heart, things like breathing rate, like heart rate, the things that you're thinking about and what you're focused on, and levels of like of adrenaline or whatever is happening inside your body. Whenever you do things with people that cause a similar physical response, whether it's an activity or watching a movie, playing a sport, that creates a social bond on a psychological level, even a neurological level, where something in our body is connecting with the people around us.
When you're doing something together.
Yeah, when we're doing it together. And it's it was so fascinating that people can build relationships indirectly by doing something else.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
Don't like breathing patterns match up and stuff like that?
Yeah, like
people have
that's what he was
similar-
saying, like breathing, heart rates. He was talking to how it's most visible, I think, with mothers and their children, like nursing, even like the way that they breathe start to synchronize, you know, and it's there's these things that we don't think about but happen naturally. It's like our body is naturally synchronizing with the people around us through things that we do.
I had this crazy experience, and this is going to sound maybe like uber spiritual or whatever, but I was in chapel in college, and I was with three or four of my buddies. I think it was their names are Sam, Rob, and Adam. And we're sitting in chapel, and we like all sit down together, and we're like listening to worship, and we hold each other's hands. And for some reason, like we all felt each other's heartbeats in each other's hands.
In your palms.
And it's going to sound so intimate, but we like all realized that our heartbeats were all in sync. And we all just start looking at each other like, what's going on? Like it felt like this crazy moment, but I thought of that when you said that.
What if everyone was just feeling their own heartbeat?
It could be. Listen, I told you that it was uber spiritual. I'm not saying that it was actually happening, but
I think that does happen. Heartbeat does synchronize.
But no, I've read studies on that, especially like in concerts and worship, like worship services and stuff like that. There's been studies that show like heartbeats starting aligning, breath patterns start aligning, right? Because you guys are all singing the same songs. You're doing something corporately, and it actually does something, and it creates a bond. It creates a connection.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's good stuff, man.
Good stuff.
No, I mean, I guess friendships are gonna affect like exactly who you are. I tell myself, I don't tell myself this. I've heard this, and I tell myself this. But environment over discipline. Like rather than trying to be disciplined in everything, because that could be really hard. Just change your environment. So it's like who you hang out with. You hang out with people who drink all the time. You're going to drink all the time. You hang out with people who go to the gym. You're going to go to the gym. Even yesterday, I didn't even feel like going until you texted me, and then I went. And so you just naturally have those things that are coming up all the time, you know? Like all of us have preached at church. Well, you guys are on staff, you know. But because I'm friends with you, then boom, I guess I'm preaching. You
start doing those things.
You start doing all the same things that everyone else starts doing for the most part.
Yeah.
So it really does determine who you are and what you become and even how you speak.
Right. Totally. Isn't it funny when you hear somebody in the same family, like you know somebody and you're like in a relationship with them and you're around them and you hear them talk, and then you meet somebody else from their family and they talk the same way. Our brains are designed to that with like mimetic neurons and stuff like that to be able to copy. That's why we like have different things from our families. Like our brains naturally do that. They get images and then they start to mirror those things. I like feel it all the time, even with like I still do things that I'm like, Dad, you know, how is this coming through? I'll say things like my dad, or I do this thing where I like rub my feet together when I'm watching a movie like my dad. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, I did not do this to myself, you know? There's this ability to copy, and so that happens in relationships. I've noticed like my humor, how I talk, my candor, because of my relationship with Abby and just hanging out with her all the time, that starts to happen, right? Even I love this especially is humor, because I feel like I am a conglomerate of like so many people's humor that I've loved, all put smashed together. Like where I've kind of like taken a piece of someone's humor here and a joke here and someone else's piece of humor here, and now I feel like I'm able to it's so crazy, like somebody's even humor, it's like a way of seeing the world or a way of seeing situations, and so you're able to kind of grab how they're seeing something and then apply it to other situations. Does that make sense? So like I don't know, so I've kind of grabbed the best of everybody around me's like humor, and then I feel like that's made,
and now he's the best.
Now he is the ultimate
and that's
humor.
how you do it.
And now I'm the ultimate comedian. No, but I just love that stuff. I love learning from other people, and I think that's what God wants for us in community, right? Is to be able to learn, because what friendship is it's being able to connect with a different facet of who God is, right? Like a different expression of who God is, right? And so when we're in community and we get to have those friendships, we get to see God in a different way. You know, and we get to see God's humor come out in a different way, God's creativity come out in a way, God's work and His masterpiece come out in a different way, and so it's awesome, you know. And I love how much I've learned from Daryl about listening, or that stuff like the questioning and actually seeing the other side, because that made me angry at first. I would like say something, I'd be really passionate about it, and he's like, "Are you sure that's true?"
Yeah, same.
And and I'd be like, "What do you mean? Am I sure it's true? I didn't ask you to."
He's like Googling it. I'm like, what? Why is he Googling?
What is he searching right now?
Yeah.
Like, we're actually going in on this right now?
I know, like, you're actually going to fact check me on this? This is ridiculous. Just accept it. Yeah, it made me so mad. But it was...
I'm so glad you guys are still my friends.
Yeah. No, but it was good, because I think the way that you actually did that inspired me to do that in my friendships as well, and really kind of cut into things and not just take things for face value because they sounded good. And as like a natural kind of, I feel like communication is like a gifting for me. Sometimes things will sound good and I'll just adopt them as truth.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and I think that's the job of people around you. Iron sharpens iron, you know, so a friend sharpens a friend, the word says, you know. So like get in people around you that can actually go, hey, yo, that ain't true, bruh. Like, you know, that's important to have around you. And I think that's God's intention for us being in community and friendship.
Yeah. And the word also says bad company corrupts good character.
Yeah.
You know, do not be deceived. Bad company corrupts good character. And if we have bad habits in our life, or bad behaviors, or things that we want to change, don't like about ourselves, it's often we can look around to our closest community and they're doing the same things. You know, and you were just saying the opposite thing, AJ. You know, like whenever you want positive traits, you're looking at people around you and they also are doing the positive things. Or trying to be connected or close, put yourself in a community that actually inspires you to do something different, or inspires you to grow, inspires you to change.
Yeah, we definitely all love learning and growing. So that's probably a big thing that we came together on.
Yeah, I think that is
and
like
changing.
Having similar values is probably a huge thing that has guided relationships in my life. And I mean, probably in everyone's life. I imagine it would be that way. But like having similar values is a huge part of who you end up being around. You know, and valuing growth, valuing truth, even, you know, valuing connection, valuing understanding, and it's those different things that maybe we don't talk about explicitly, but are happening under the surface. You know, and they show up in our relationships. And so if we have friends who value other things that we don't really value, we're probably naturally going to drift away from them.
Yeah.
You know, and I think I've seen that in my own life. Is people seem like we had different values. I ended up not spending as much time with them.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay.
Right. And that's okay. Yeah. That's okay.
That's good.
I've seen people, you know, hold on to friendships that maybe weren't healthy because they've had them as a friend, but they realize like they're a bad influence in their life, or they realize that they want to live their life in a different way, but they don't really know how to end the relationship, or they don't really know how to navigate getting creating separation in the relationship, and they let it impact their life, and they know that it's impacting them in a negative way, but they haven't navigated the friendship
right
to create, you know, that healthy space. You
end up getting stuck too. You know, some people feel stuck in friendships. I mean, especially when you're younger, but a lot of, you know, especially high schoolers, man, they're just in relationships they don't even want to be in, friendships they don't even want to be in. They don't even care about these, you know, like they're just doing it for literally the cloud of it, and like they don't even have like good relationships, but they just get stuck. And I feel like sometimes if you they'll settle for that lesser friendship or whatever. I had one student tell me, I'm like, why do you still hang out with all these people? They like treat you terribly. He's like, they're the only friends I got. And it was like, it was like, dang, you know?
But if you keep them as friends, you're probably not going to have other friends.
Yeah, you're not going to seek out other friends.
And it's like there's a risk involved with friendship. And I think even as adults, you know, that if we've had bad friendships in the past, we might not want to try to develop other friendships because of the hurt that we've had already. And it's like, it almost seems easier, safer if I can just be lonely. Like being lonely almost feels like a better alternative. Or being in a bad relationship seems like a better alternative than having no friendships.
People tell me that, and
Right.
it's hard to speak to it because I don't know how to speak to that. How do
Yeah.
you speak to that? People have been hurt in friendships. For me, I'm like, just go make a new friend. But
I think that part of it is
Just stop being sad.
I think oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't know
Just
how to speak to that, man.
Stop being sad and find a good friend. I think that it can come down to a point of needing reflection, internal reflection, right? If I'm constantly find myself with bad friends, then maybe I should look at myself and think, well, what is it about me that keeps ending up with people who I don't want to be around?
Yeah.
And because as you mentioned already, we attract who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And if we keep finding ourselves around poor friends, maybe unhealthy relationships, that might be an indicator of something.
Mm-hmm.
And we should take the time to reflect, and think, well, what can I do to grow? How do I need to grow? What kind of people do I want to surround myself with?
Mm-hmm.
What's the life that I want to live, and is my lifestyle compatible with that life that I want to have?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And if it's not, then I need to take some time to reflect and think, well, how do I want to grow and what can I do? And then put myself in the environments where I know healthier people are going to be, and get into a place where I'm more likely to run into people making good decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Because environment over discipline,
Yeah.
like you said, AJ, if we keep putting ourselves in situations where people are going to be that aren't going to be good influences, well, we're probably not going to find healthy friendships there.
Mm.
yeah. And then one thing we were talking about was just us getting older.
Mm-hmm.
Is or I guess you could speak to it, is like the difference of casting a wide net versus going deeper.
Mm-hmm.
It's been your experience, right?
Yeah. I think that's exactly it. When I was in college, it was about seeking everybody, and I guess it was a part of making everyone feel included, you know what I mean? Or like I wanted to be friends with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was just like maybe like an insecurity, I wanted to be known, and I thought the way to get known was for a bunch of people to know me a little bit.
Right.
Rather than a few people to know me a lot of it. And so, I think that shifted in me to having, rather than 100 people that I know that I barely have any relationship with me, but it's super fun to be around them, to be at a party or something like that. And everyone's there and it's so fun. And I'm talking with everybody. Woo! Because I'm like hyper extrovert, like 98% extrovert or whatever. Well, I think that's changed recently. But now in my life, I've become much more exclusive with the people that I hang out with. And I love it, I love having, you guys are my two like best buddies, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. I got people that I call, I call my buddy Rob too, on the phone that's still, that lives in North Carolina. And then it's like, and then I have other friends, you know what I mean? But I don't go as deep as with them as I go with you guys, you know?
Yeah.
And I
What do you think
what-
changed that? Just
I think it was realizing that I wasn't actually known. It was the idea. It was like this draw to have a lot of people see me, but I don't think I was actually known. And I think it was also a way to say, hey, look at me in relationships with kind of still being able to cover up some of those deeper parts of me. So I was able to present myself in large groups. You're able to present yourself however you want to present yourself. In front of new people that don't really know you.
Right.
It's like you're able to be wild, you're able to be fun, you're able to be goofy without any really even consequences, or it doesn't mean anything for the relationships because they don't really know you. And then I loved being able to make like amazing first impressions on people. You know what I mean? Like where it's like they would be like, Aaron's awesome, or Aaron's so joyful, or Aaron's so spirit filled, or you know what I mean? Even the weird ones, they gave me like a little buzz, and so it's like all of these little hits throughout the day of connecting with everybody and getting all these things. But at the end of the day, I was kind of like I still had this loneliness in me, and so I decided, and I don't even know how it happened or when it happened, but I just realized that wasn't the way, and I think it started, once I got back and then was just at the church. And then I was like, I don't need all these relationships. I just, I can't do it. I just want a couple people that know me, a couple people that know me really well. And then that's been way better for me.
a friend to all is a friend to none. So you think your extroversion like came down a little bit?
I think now as I've gotten older, my extroversion, like I was at, I had my birthday party at my house the other day, and I was like telling Abby, like, and it was probably like 3 hours in. I was like, I just want everyone to go. I really felt that way, which is just not me at all. And it wasn't because I was anxious or anything. I was just like, I had my fill. I was like ready to I was ready to chill out, and I just wanted it to be her and I just wanted to I literally went into the other room and I just was on my phone. And I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is weird. So I do think my extroversion has gone way down, and I don't mind solace as much. I actually appreciate it.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And I feel less intense about first impressions, because I used to feel that too. Like, I liked making first impressions, you know?
Right.
I mean, I still kind of do, I guess, but it's more like I don't care how it goes anymore as much as I did. So yeah, I guess I was thinking about it, and I was thinking the deeper I've gone with friends, really you guys, the more actually confident I am in general. So it's you think the method is going to work where you're just friends with tons of people, and so then when you're hurt by some circumstance or whatever, or your confidence takes a hit, you're okay because all these people know you, but you're actually not okay. But when you have people that know you very well and you feel very seen for a lot of different aspects of yourself, then when I'm out and about and have a weird interaction or have something that would normally in the past have shaken my confidence, it's kind of oh, I guess it doesn't really matter. You know,
Dang.
Aaron, these guys, they already know me.
Yeah.
So you don't even I don't even really think about it anymore.
I already know you're an idiot.
Yeah, he already knows I'm an idiot.
And I still love you.
No, that's really, I think that's a great point, is that when you have people who really see you and know you, and you feel seen and known and accepted, it's that's the biggest confidence booster there could be. You know? I heard someone actually, I think it was Gary Vee giving advice to somebody, but he was talking to a parent about children, and he talked about what he's doing with his daughter, who's getting older, and this parent was worried about the influence that other people have on her daughter, and he was saying what he does with his daughter, and he just wants her to know that he loves her, that he wants to see her as best as he can, and wants her to know that he believes in her and that he loves her, he cares for her, he's there for her, and he wants there to be this healthy relationship and connection, so that way she has the confidence to say no to bad things, and when she's with her friends, she has the confidence to say yes to the good things, because she's not worried about being seen and accepted anymore, because she knows that her father sees and accepts her.
Man, Gary V's living up the gospel or what?
I know, I'm just thinking that. It's it's just a crazy thing that we try to get confidence by being accepted by a bunch of people on social media, on just in wherever else we're at, with where we have community. But it's really the few intimate relationships that can build the confidence the most. Then the rest don't really even matter. Then we can go out and actually be ourselves and find other people that we actually connect with when we're authentic. Rather than trying to impress people or be accepted by people.
Yeah, and if you don't connect with someone, you're whatever, not a big deal.
Right, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, even how I regard social media has changed over the years. Now I don't even know why I do it or anything. I have no clue. I sometimes post stuff, I have no idea why, because when something cool happens, I'm usually just gonna send it to someone, a friend, DM that, just DM it straight to them. I don't have to post it to everybody. So it even changed that. I'm confused, honestly.
And it's the access that people have, that we have to each other when you get closer with somebody. And Aaron, you said this earlier, when Jesus calls us friends, he says you're no longer slaves but friends, and it's because you know what I'm doing, right? And this level of we are aware of what's going on. We know what's going on in Jesus' in life. We know what he's doing. We know what he's up to. And with our relationships, we know what each other are up to. We know what's happening inside of each other's lives, and that builds a sense of connection and community and safety and trust. Even when we know, hey, this person knows who I am, what I'm about, and they still love me and accept me and trust me. And that builds trust in the relationship. And with our relationship with God, even if we can take that same principle and sit with that with Jesus, that he calls us his friend, and that we have access to him, and that he has, obviously has access to us, but we open ourselves up to him, and he's opening up himself to us, saying, hey, I'm your friend. We are in this together. You're not just here just to do things for me. I'm not just, somebody who's above you and talking down to you, but we're in a relationship.
Yeah. that we've been talking a lot about it, but that really requires something of us to know ourselves and then to be honest and vulnerable with another person to develop that trust.
Right.
I mean, we talk about that a lot in romantic relationships, but I don't think a lot of people have that with friendships. Like you have your person, which is like your romantic partner that you kind of like, they are the ones that really know the heart of you, and then you have your friendships, which are a little bit more often. I understand that maybe, your wife or your husband should definitely know the depths of you even more so than your friends, but I think that's something I learned, especially as a guy growing up, was that you didn't have close friendships like that.
Same.
Like it was all about just having fun together, which I love having fun with people, but like I realized something was missing because it's like I didn't actually have friends that saw me. You know what I mean? Right. We did stuff together. We skated together. Like we laughed together. We did stupid stuff together, stupid pranks and stuff, which is all awesome. You know what I mean? It's like a perks of being a guy too. Growing up and just being an absolute goofball, shooting airsoft guns at cars and stuff like that. Just getting in trouble. Yeah, right. Sorry, mom. But it also was to get actually close to somebody. I mean, to be super honest, it was considered like, are you gay? You know what I mean? To even have close relationships with a guy, it was like, you must have feelings for that guy, because that's not what you do in a friendship with a guy. And I think in college I had this shift to, no, I want to get more intimate with my dudes. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it wasn't about finding a girl in a relationship. It was like, I need to get more solid guys around me. And I started being overly like intimate with them, touching them, like just being like, what's up, bro? Like I wanted to know their hearts, and I wanted to have that male connection. And I think that's something that's really been, at least for I think it still is, you know what I mean? It's like almost frowned upon, you know what I mean? To have like an intimate connection without even saying that it's like attraction or something like that. At least in the guy community. I think girls are better at it, communicating emotionally and going deeper. But it's not something that I learned growing up.
Yeah.
And I had to realize it was okay.
Yeah, it's more socially acceptable for girls to be emotionally expressive and to communicate and to talk, and it's more socially even expected that guys don't do that and that girls do that. Right. At least I think that it's shifting. There's a lot more guys nowadays, I think, that are more eloquent in their speech of their emotions.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's more of a value for it today, I think. Yeah,
there's more of a value for like the self-awareness and the vulnerability, and to communicate well, and to have healthy emotional intelligence. But it's true that in a lot of cultures that's not, I think, even still a lot of culturally it's not accepted in a lot of places. Yeah, but it feels so vital to having good friendships. Like for me, that's the same thing for me. I grew up having friendships that were of convenience and kind of fun, did things together, and I would hang out. But in college, it's when it shifted, whenever like one of my friends, his brother had told him about like some of his friends that he just started getting really close with, and like talking about life and being friends on purpose. Yeah. And he was like, and I want to be your friend. And he was like, asked me to be his friend in like it was like almost a formal thing. But it's like,
he like asked you out.
But we were like, and then we decided we're going to get lunch regularly. And like, we just talked about life together. But it was like, that's the first time I had intentionally invested in friendships, was in that friendship where we were intentionally taking time to hang out, to connect, to like process things, and to to provide some kind of level of like even like support or accountability or emotional support or whatever, and just actually see each other and get away from this stigma of you can't go deep or can't be vulnerable. Yeah, because it's in the vulnerability that you actually have the opportunity to be seen, and when you are seen, you can be connected to someone and build relationships.
Yeah, it's hard for guys to find the language to express something of themselves, like be vulnerable or say what they feel about certain things. Yeah. And it not being like a flex or something like that, which is like the contractors I work with. Like even in the last class I was teaching the other day, these guys were just flexing each other. Like, I have 5 employees, I have 12 employees. It's like, well, you guys are not connecting on anything, on any level. Right. You're just trying to flex on each other. Yeah. And you can never connect with anyone in any kind of real sense without saying something honest, right. Like, oh, like business is hard, or like I get a little scared sometimes, something like that. You'd immediately connect so much faster. Yeah, totally. And then you'd be friends and then you'd probably learn from each other.
Right. It's
Yeah,
like
you could
that's
probably
one of
actually
the-
go, that was so profound what you just said. Those like 4 sentences. I'm like,
I didn't even
geez.
know where I was going with it either. So.
but that was so good and
There's a lot
true.
to unpack there. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, because if we're just talking like facts, it's you can talk about facts with anybody, with a machine, you know?
Yeah.
It's like it's whenever you get the personal experience of like, and business is hard. Like I don't know how to lead them. I have 5 employees and I can't lead them well.
Yeah, imagine if you could admit something like that.
Yeah,
That's so
it's
hard
like-
for guys to admit.
And I'm trying to do this better, and I'm doing this, and I've learned these things in the past, and even those kind of stuff, like what you've learned and how you've recognized that you've failed, and that creates an opportunity for that connection to happen, where now we can relate on this experience. You know, it's like talking about the experience and not so much just the facts of what happened.
Yeah.
Right? That's good. I think
really
that
good.
there is a big shift that takes place in conversation, just the way that people talk.
Yeah, it's super important. So we talked about like obviously vulnerability, trust, that kind of stuff. What are some of the other things that you think make like a solid friendship?
I think growth, like two people being able to grow together. And AJ, you mentioned this, like you need to be in a community that allows you to grow. I think that if you're in a friendship and you like healthy things grow, right? Any healthy thing grows. Plants, businesses, people.
Yeah.
And if you are in a friendship where you're growing, you're learning, you're developing, and you start shifting and wanting to live your life, you know, in a better way, or in a way that seems to be more valuable and fruitful, and you have friends who don't want you to do that because now you're changing or you're being different, or they start teasing you for it. It's like, that's not a good, healthy dynamic going on.
Yeah.
I had a friend who recently told me that he's wanting to shift his friend group because of all this stuff that they usually do, and he doesn't want to do that anymore. And he's like, he's coming to this place where he's being more comfortable processing things out loud, like vulnerability, you know, and sharing like the pain that he's experienced, and like, this is actually what's going on inside my heart, right? And trying to do it in a healthy way, and realizing that in this group of people, if he shares that, they just kind of tease him about it. And it ends up not being a place where he can actually process and grow, right? And reflect on it and think, well,
That
how can I grow
sucks,
from
dude.
this? And so if you're in a dynamic or friendships where that can't happen, I think that's no healthy friendship will take place. You have to be in a place where growth is okay and even encouraged.
Yeah,
you know,
and even encouraged,
where
yeah.
growth is encouraged. And that's why I love being in a relationship with you guys and friends with you. Is like, I feel like I can grow with you. You know, I can grow in conversation and hearing your perspective on things, and you questioning things and asking questions, and just what you bring to the friendship are things that I think, wow, I want to be more like that. Or wow, I want to actually think about what I'm doing or what I'm saying because of what you just said. And growth is a huge thing, I think, at least for me.
Yeah.
Personally, is like having growth.
And I think
present.
there's also a great balance that has to be, between allowing that person to be where they're at and then allowing them the space to grow. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
yeah.
allowing them to be fully themselves, and then also encouraging them on to things that are higher. You know, I think something that gets unhealthy in relationships, and this is a part of helping somebody grow, is friends that are just yes men. You know, and that's what AJ was talking about. It's like no one would ever challenge his things or say like, that sounds dumb, you know, or maybe that's off, or maybe we should look that up, you know, and that doesn't obviously help you grow. You know, I think good friends, you know, and we've talked about this a lot in relationships because they're hard and conflict arises, but iron sharpens iron. That means there's contact there. And so I want a good friend to call me out when I'm wrong. You know, and one of my favorite moments, and I think I've talked about it maybe 3 or 4 times on the podcast, but was literally when I first started hanging out with Daryl or whatever. He knows what I'm talking about, the young adults night, and I was telling people to like set back up the tables and the chairs or whatever, but I gave them no direction, and then I got frustrated. Because they put them up stupid, like they did, like they put the tables everywhere. They didn't put them orderly or in line, and I got frustrated. And I was like, "Good job, guy!" I was making these sarcastic comments, and he just like in the Darylist way, which means he's very kind and brings peace. But he was like, you can't expect something out of somebody you don't communicate. And I was like, And it was like, I think I knew Daryl for like 3 months, dude. Like, and I was like, who is this guy?
We must have been going to coffee at that point.
Yeah. No, we had been in it for a little while, but I think that's crucial for me, and that's something that literally like seared my brain. That's like been on me is I can't expect people to do something I don't communicate, you know. And that's I've taken that into my leadership. Why? Because he didn't just let me get frustrated and angry. He was actually like, no, you're being dumb, dude. And he didn't say it like that, but he was like, he gave me a word of wisdom, and it cut deep. You know what I mean? Probably deeper than he expected it would. Okay,
I think it probably did.
Yeah. But that kind of stuff, I think a good friend's going to be able to call you higher. I think that's something important for me too.
That's good, man.
What do you think, AJ?
What do I think about that?
It was just like a quality of like
Something
a good
that's
friend
important.
for you.
Oh, a good friend for me. Yeah, I guess like what I was saying, definitely just likes to laugh, you know? Because I have had friends that don't like to laugh, which is really weird even to picture that. I tried to make that work, you know?
If somebody doesn't
there's a
like
lot of people that
laughing,
don't like laughing.
Wow.
There's like statistics on it that most adults really don't laugh.
They don't like laughing either?
They just don't laugh.
You laugh like
okay.
7 times less than a kid. Kids laughing all the time.
There's a lot of people that just never laugh. Laughing and having fun. Obviously growing, learning. Oh, for me, actually, one of the big ones is this. It's being able to be talking about deep stuff, but also make crazy, stupid jokes.
Right.
Which it's really actually hard to find someone who could do that. It's like surprisingly difficult to run into those people. You know, you'll be talking to people about theology and they're just like dead serious, you know, like J.I. Packer, A.W. Tozer, blah, 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 you know? And then you just want to make some like kind of salacious joke and it doesn't go over well, you know?
Yeah. Sometimes I'll be in a deep conversation on something across my mind that I think is funny, and I'll have to process, should I say this or should I not? And I have to like assess the relationship and also the dynamic.
So yeah, for me, I guess it's that like ability to adapt or whatever is always something.
Yeah.
But that's just because that's like me, right? So we just like we're very similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So
I think something that's crucial for me is encouragement too, in like a friendship. I think that's awesome to have people that are just going to support you, you know, at the same time as they're going to correct you. They're just going to they're going to support the crap out of you. And that's something that I didn't have growing up with my friends. It was more like, let's try and roast them as bad as possible, you know, which is fun to a degree until you actually start believing that that's what they think about you, you know, and then like they're roasting you and you're like, do you actually think that about me?
It's like, you guys say this a lot.
Yeah. You guys say this like every day. Like I'm starting to think this is true. Until it gets on you. So that's how we like related to each other, was roasting each other. And I think the Christian community was so beautiful for me because I was like, these people are actually nice. Like they're actually kind. Like it was so different from the friend groups I had experienced, you know? And that was amazing to me. And so that came on for me. You know, we talked about it a couple episodes ago about communication, that encouragement's a really core value of me, you know what I mean, of mine to give to people, because I think it changes people's days. It can change someone's life, you know what I mean, by saying a kind word. And I think that friends need to be encouraging each other and kind of grabbing hold and being encouraged, putting courage in somebody to actually go chase after what they're chasing after, you know. And I love like, you know, hearing that AJ's writing something new or something like that and being like, yes, dude, that's sick. You know what I mean? Or that's such a good concept. He was just telling me about a concept for his book about the sky and earth. I won't spoil it, but I was like, dude, that's such a good idea. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff is like when people get excited and encourage what you're going after and what you're doing, that's awesome. You know, like that's...
You definitely have friends that are excited when you're like succeeding and doing better.
Yeah.
Right.
And also when you fail, that's always what Jordan Peterson says, but when you fail, they don't like jump on you like and try to tell you everything you did wrong and go in and go, but just more just like listen, you know?
Yeah, totally.
And not like invalidate your experience, right? Whether you do something good or bad, that, you know, you have really bad friends sometimes that do that. You do something good and they're like, well, I did this thing, you know?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Or you do something bad and they're like trying to fix it all immediately. Without just listening.
That's a really bad part. Oh, sorry, Daryl, go ahead.
I was just say, or like blaming you, like just making you feel bad about what you did to mess up, and rather than actually encouraging you or like trying to and just listening to you, you know. Yeah. What were you saying?
I don't remember. I lost it. Oh, I was gonna say the one-upping. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That happens in communication a lot with friends. It could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. You know what I mean? It's almost like a comforting technique that is really bad to use. You know
comforting yourself.
It's like, dude, my mom died. It's like, bro, both my grandmas and my dad died. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, what? How does that help me? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so we're both just, But it's like people that don't know how to communicate use that.
When they're trying to comfort somebody. They like tell them that they had worse pain.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I remember that. Oh my gosh. I won't say any names, but yeah. I remember my friend Massimo was sharing his heart, about something, and he was just sharing like, this season has been really hard for me. And then this like older guy who's like, he's more seasoned and he's like a pastor or whatever, but he was just like, you don't even know the half of it. Okay, it gets way worse. Like you haven't even dealt with this. And I'm like, that is the worst way to comfort somebody ever.
Yeah.
So I think listening is a big part.
Listening is very important in friendship.
Yeah, it's super important in friendships as well.
I feel like it's just healthy people qualities.
Yeah. We could probably talk about, all day the different types of, the different types of qualities or the what makes a good friendship.
In guys, I wonder if we have like a natural instinct to want to one up though, in terms of like accomplishment
like
stuff.
Competitiveness.
But you have to try to be humble because otherwise you can never appreciate other people's success either,
Yeah.
And then you can't even appreciate your own success because there's always someone who has more success than you.
Right. Yeah.
I was like the guy who is like super rich and was doing like $100 million a year, but he was depressed because he was roommates with Elon Musk, so he felt like a nobody.
Oh my gosh. Right. Yeah. There's one of my old teachers used to always say that comparison shrinks people. Comparison shrinks people. She would talk about how if you are the one comparing yourself against somebody, you're either going to shrink yourself or you're going to shrink them. Right. And at the end of the day, you're going to make someone smaller in your eyes. Either you're looking at the other person and making them less in your eyes, or you're looking at yourself and making yourself less.
Yeah, I guess if you can't praise other people, you can't praise yourself so much. But it reminds me of the verse that Jesus said that like you judge others, it comes back in a heap on your head or whatever. Like if you judge other people like, oh, they succeeded in that, but it really wasn't that great. Then when you succeed in something that's kind of equal to them, you're going to get down on yourself. So it only comes back to hurt yourself. Right? Be like, okay, actually, that was a cool accomplishment.
Right, to actually celebrate.
It's way easier just to praise and celebrate other people's success.
Because then you can end up doing it for yourself. Because often the reason that you're judging anyway is because you're judging yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's how you judge. You judge according to how you judge, yourself. So
AJ, you said a quote earlier that you were reading. Was it like Alexander the Great or something? It was like,
I think it was Aristotle.
Friendship is about forgetting what you have given and remembering what you've received.
That was basically it, yeah. Alexander Dumas
the Great. Alexander Dumas the Great. I just remembered it as Alexander something. I was like, it doesn't sound like something Alexander the Great would say, but maybe he did. But giving, I just love that concept in relationships, and if you're friends with somebody who's doing the same thing, I feel like it'd be a beautiful friendship.
What is the quote?
To forget the things that you have given and remember the things that you have received. So like forgetting the things that you've given to somebody so that way you're not holding it over their head. Like I've done all this stuff, I've given all this time, but instead you remember what they have given to you. Remember what you've received from a relationship. And I think it just sets you up for a posture of gratitude, in your friendships. And if both people are grateful for what's happening in the friendship, you're not going to be, focusing on all the negative things or holding people to past mistakes or, or thinking like, oh, I can't believe I've given this or I've spent this much time pouring into this situation or listening to you and you haven't even done this for me, and it could just become selfish.
Yeah. Super selfish. It's just being Christ-like. Yeah. I feel like it makes it, like we talked about, it's like being a healthy person or like following Jesus. It makes relationships a whole lot easier, or not easier necessarily, but way better.
No, I think it does make it easier.
It does make it easier.
I think, it's like, and coming back to what you said about Gary Vee, it's like, because I know that God, approves of me, I don't need my friends necessarily to always approve of me, which ends up leading to them approving of me.
Yeah.
Right. Or leading me to people who are fine with who I am,
With
like
who I am.
accepting me with who I am.
Yeah, because I'm just myself. And so it's like, at this point, people that don't like me aren't around me. So it's
Right,
like,
exactly.
if I'm fully myself, then they're actually seeing me. So the people that actually like me, it's like, hey guys,
Yes.
that you actually like me. So I'm chilling,
Yeah. If we stop being fake, we will start finding real friends.
My God. Sweet baby Jesus.
I feel like we probably said that a million times in different episodes, that same concept.
Yeah.
But it's true,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's just how it goes.
That's how it goes, baby.
Friendships are important.
They're super important.
They impact our life.
I'm grateful for you guys.
I'm grateful for you guys.
Grateful.
You're good friends.
All right.
That's all
Huggy
hug.
moment.
We're
We
all
just
hugging.
slap each other in the mics. Yeah, man. Yeah, I think they're so important. I think we need to, just go deeper and deeper. I think just like we talked about in the seeing the other person episode, it's like you constantly, they're the image of God right next to you,
Right.
And I was just reading C.S. I actually sent AJ the quote. It's from The Way to Glory by C.S. Lewis. He said, next to the sacrament itself, the person next to you is the most holy thing that you could see. And it's like, holy moly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, and he says, because the glorified and the glorifier, glory himself, lives within them.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that insane?
That's awesome.
He's the best. He's the GOAT. But he says that, and that's how we can see friendships. It's like, I get to see the glory of God in you, and I think that helps us in all of those different aspects, getting deep and getting vulnerable with each other and encouraging one another and having so much fun with each other. It's like you're having fun with the holiness of God. You're having fun with the glory of God next to you. It's like, that's crazy.
That's awesome.
With
Crazy,
the wisdom of God and the creation of God and the mind of God. It's like, I get to experience God, the expression of God through you.
Yes.
That's
Awesome.
dope,
That's awesome.
And I think that just makes for everything. Listening, conversations, going deep with people, understanding people, asking good questions. It makes everything that's a good friendship, really, really, really solid, is being able to see people like that. So
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
a gift from God, those friendships. Cool.
Facts.
Amen.
We done?
Facts.
I think we're done.
No printer.
We could go probably 30 more minutes. I think we have other topics, but maybe we should just cut it there. Wow.
Friendships.
Friendships,
Sound
man.
Pretty good to me.
They're good.
Go have some
Good-
good conversation with some friends.
Yeah, go tell a friend you love them. Text them right now.
Tell them what you like, what you appreciate about them.
Well, yeah, texting me. I'm like, hey, not.
Is it- oh, okay.
I want to tell you this in person.
Yeah. All right, you guys, all of our boggies out there, make sure to follow us on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Instagram, Your Brain on God, on all of those bad boys. We love you guys, and we'll see you on the next episode of Your Brain on God. You're awesome. Peace out.
And also...
Peace out.